Evening. Today we had the Who's on at the Hill. It was Silver Slipper Day. Silver Slipper Day. If you were there, it was fair dinkum like Tin Day. It was. I'll get to it in a minute. Look, go very quickly back to today, week ago at Kembla Grange, where we had a track which was given out a soft 7. And the rail was 6 metres out. There was a very strong wind um, hitting them in the face when they turned for home at Kembla, and that didn't stop some leaders from winning. So if that wind wasn't there, I would imagine the fence at Kembla would have been absolute dynamite. A lot more runners would have got home than they did, leading and close to the fence. But they did come from behind. But as I say, some leaders did win leading. We saw a nice horse in the first race, Exosphere, trained by John O'Shea for Darley, ridden by Jeff Penzer. It might have a chance in the slip of that horse after we saw what happened today at Rosehill. So that was back at Kembla Grange today, a week ago. Of course, geez, aren't there some meetings on, everyone's so stale who goes to the races. We're all stale, but these bludgers keep on putting them on. Wyong was on last Sunday. It was a good 3. The rail was 4 metres out from the 1350 to the 210. Look, you could lead and win there and also come from behind. There was a breeze behind them, more or less up the straight for the first few races. Then it swung around and it was behind them as they were coming down the side. Didn't have any effect, and there was no bias on the track. We went to headquarters, Randwick on Wednesday. Well, fair dinkum. Now, Steak and Kidney, Sydney, is not, we're a nice big city, aren't we? Randwick's not very far from the city. I know people have got to make a living and work, but people did make an effort to getting to Randwick when they were on a Wednesday. It was a fair dinkum ghost town. You had just the usual suspects there. There was a strong breeze coming out of the northeast for the first race. When I say strong, nice solid breeze, and then it swung around and a little bit to be more easterly and was directly against them when they turned for home. They ran into it in the straight, and then it swung around again and went back to that position it started off at the beginning of the day for the last race, and it was fairly stiff. But that didn't stop leaders from winning there. You saw Nanger in race 3. It was a 2,400 metre race, but after doing a bit of work to get to the lead, it fair dinkum won in third gear. It was it's obviously got plenty of ability. On Wednesday at Randwick, the track was good and the rail was 10 metres out after we saw the situation with the track, the inside fence being no good, the two meetings prior. Well, not to be outdone, along came Thursday and we didn't have our usual Hawkesbury, Wyong or Kembla, or Hawkesbury, Wyong or Gosford. We had Newcastle on Wednesday. They say it was a ghost town. I must admit I didn't go. It would have been all right if Canterbury wasn't on last night, but it's just physically not possible to spend hours and hours doing the form, drive to Newcastle, come back. I didn't get to go to Newcastle on Thursday, but I did watch every race. The track was good, the rail was normal, and again there was a bit of a strong breeze coming out of the northwest and into their face when they turned for home. But again, that didn't stop leaders from winning, and I have to say that there was no bias on the track on Wednesday at Newcastle. We got to Canterbury last night. We had a good 3. The rail was 3 metres out, and, well, I'm not going to call it Canterbury Park. Canterbury last night played fair. we did see the first winner lead and win an unraced runner trained by Chris Waller, ridden by Horseman Bowman Expectation. Found the bunny. There was a very unlucky runner in the race. Number 2, Courts a King, ridden by Jovial Josh Parr. He only had to get a split at the top of the straight, and he got beat about a head. I got to say that the margin would have been a couple of lengths if he would have got clear running, turning for home. But as I say, I'm not going to call it Canterbury Park. I'm going to call it a fair Canterbury, because we did have runners that, as I say, the first winner that did lead, and it was the only leader to win. It was the only leader to win. We had plenty of other runners that were on the fence and eased off heels, came down the outside, and other runners that sat back in the field. And well, the second winner sat 3 wide all of the way. Rajamani, who we put it up 10 to 9 on. Well, have your 10 for 9, Rajamani. Got out to $2.40. I knocked one of the pros back at $2.40. And then all of a sudden there was an announcement made. And the announcement was that Rajamani was going to be ridden off the speed. Everybody had it going forward, most probably crossing from barrier 9 barrier 8 in a field of barrier 7. I'll get this right. Barrier 8 in a field of 9, and crossing and finding the bunny. When that announcement was made, as I say, it was $1.90, 10 to 9 on out to 11 to 8, back into 5 to 4, and the announcement was made. Well, bookies couldn't reach for it quick enough, including Muggins here. We got it out to $2.90, started $2.80, and of course the bottom one here, the runner trained by Gay, 12, who was resuming from a spell, it drew barrier 9 in the field of 9. Well, everyone said, hello, well, if it's going back Rajamani, 12, I own the lead, we'll go straight across here and find the money. And it opened up $6, got out to 7, and it was backed as if there was no settling. It started 7 to 2. Now, Rajamani, it didn't go back. It sat 3 wide, right on the speed. And where did it settle? 12 settled down in last position. Wouldn't have won if it, even if it did lead. But as I say, that meeting, there was only the one leader to win. Well, there you go, and that was the first race, and it shouldn't have won. So the track, I would say there was no bias on the track at all. There was a breeze coming out of the southeast. We got to Rosehill today. Slipper day, silver, not slipper day, silver slipper day. Well, fair dinkum, the betting ring at Rosehill is just becoming an absolute myth. I've told you this before. I observed the situation before the first race. The patrons who attend and get into the grandstands, there are some coming from the right, some coming from the left. But you observe what the situation is in the betting ring, and I'm not joking. There are 12 to 15 regulars, and that's all that there are. It's a very, very dead situation at Rosehill. It is a fair dinkum, fly-blown marketplace. And when it comes to the pros, well, the new kid on the block who I've been telling you about, who's had a good bit of spice and a bit of life to the betting ring, he wasn't there today. He wasn't there today. And our other pro, he wasn't there. Our biggest pro, he wasn't there either. And we had 2 other pros there. That's all. And they were backing a few roughies and a few winners along the way as well. But not. Oh no more for the favourite, please. Hi, my darling. Listen, I'm just doing this. I got absolutely stripped there. I'm just doing this stupid review because I Can I speak to you later on? Oh, no, 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 I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I'll speak to you later on. Oh, bye. Um, so, what was I saying? This joint at Rosehill, the new kid in the block wasn't it? A couple of other pros fiddled and twiddled around, and didn't have many bets. They would have finished on the right side of the ledger. And when it comes to, of course, the bit of cash that's in the ring, there's one captain on the rails. He seems to get all the business. If he sees anyone, any grumble and grunder with any cash in his hand, he fair dinkum throws a net over them. He said, "Now come here, son. Whatever you can see, I'll give you a roll. I'll give you a roll." And he gets all the cash money in the ring from the regulars. Gee whiz, it's a fly-blown marketplace. And it was Silver Slipper Day. Silver Slipper. They used to Rosehill and Silver Slipper Day. You couldn't get in the joint. It was a fair dinkum. It was Rosehill Tin Day or Sawdust Day. It was. Oh, what an absolute myth! This game's going down the gurgler. Well, I don't know how he gives them a roll because the first race we only gave 101%. And we saw after we saw the first two races, everyone was saying, "Wait there, the 18 pence is the place to be here. It might be a bit hard to come from behind." And we saw Just a Girl from Barrier 1 suck up behind the rabbit, the bunny in front, Kinsella, who missed the kick. I was $3.50 when they jumped, $3.60, 70. I was calling out with the owners of Kinsella, "Please step forward." They weren't there. And after missing the kick, as I say, that was the end of it. Wouldn't have won even if it did miss the kick. It wouldn't have won with 3-length start. Kinsella. It missed a kick, went between runners and found the bunny, as I say. Harara, who pulled up the thumps, sat on the outside, and directly behind the leader on the fence was the winner, Just a Girl from Barrier 1, and who ran second, Tahitian Black from Barrier 2, sucked up on its back, and who ran third, Ernest, who eased back to second last, and railed up on their backs. They ran 1, 2, 3. It looked like the 18 pence was going to be the place to be. First winner was very well back too. You wouldn't see it. As much as $16 was given in the outside ring, and it only started. No, what am I talking about? As much as $10, $11 given in the outside ring, and it only started 15 to 2. So it was tens into 15 to 2. Well back. Second race, we only gave 95% here in the second race, and the winner was found, Fine Miss, and after we saw the first, hello, I think the pros said this track is going to be a leader's track. So they found Bullpit. There were 7 runners in this race. No, I tell a lie, there were 9, and it drew Barrier 9. It was always going to go forward, which it did, and it crossed and found the bunny. And they said, it's the place to be. Now, you wouldn't see it in the flux. I'm telling you now, there was as much as $41 bet about this runner in the outside ring, $26 on the fence. At one stage, if you had up $16, I was how much at $19. If you had up $16 at one stage, it was liable for whatever you wanted. It touched $13, $14, but got back out to start $17 at the end of betting. As I say, it found the bunny. It only went down by 0.2 of a length. Who was on its outside? Fine Mist, who failed at Canterbury last start on that very bias-dominated track where if you weren't on the fence you couldn't win. It did win easily and a good win the start prior to that at Warwick Farm. And I suppose the way the track was by race 2, the third horse here was most probably a good thing beaten, and that was Washington Heights, because It drew barrier 9 in a, oh no, it drew barrier 8 in a field of 9, ridden by brilliant Brendan Abdullah. He jumped, he eased back in the field to more or less last position on the fence, hoping before the turn and seeing how the first race played out, he might be able to get a rails run. But what you could see that wasn't going to happen, and he eased off heels turning for home, got to the outside, and he ran down the outside to only fail, beaten 0.3 of a length, 0.2 by 0.3 with the margins, and run the race again. And it started favourite. We put it up $3.50, 5-2 Washington Heights favourite, got out to $4.40, 7-2, and came back in to start 5-2 favourite. By that stage, only race 2, the inside wasn't chopped up, and being a little bit more fair, the track, it most probably would have won. It was trapped wide in the run Shimani, but still went fairly ordinarily. Race 3, we only bet 102%, and this horse, I've done an absolute fortune on this horse, Catkins. It looked like it was going to be trapped 3 wide early, but Horseman Bone was a bit too clever. He eased back and settled in 5th position. Before the first race, which I haven't mentioned, this track never changed its track reading all day. It was given out a good 4 and stayed that way. The rail was 6 metres out. Now, before the first race, I'm telling you now, about an hour and a bit, 20 minutes before the first race, it teemed at Rosehill. It was a very, very heavy shower, and the edge was definitely taken off this track. And in race 3, we'll avoid lightning, it likes the going. Lily Bolero, a little bit sus in it, and Catkins, well, it doesn't mind. And Lily Bolero went very poorly. It did race keenly, and went very poor. Catkins, as I say, after being a little bit wide early, eased back in behind them, but eased off the heels turning for home, and was able to win the race only by half a length, beating Plucky Bell, who came from second last along the fence. And just easing off their heels was the resumer, Avoid Lightning, getting to the lead and looking the winner at the furlong and a half pole. But Catkins, the very honest mare she is, was a little bit too strong. Race 4, well, they hit the line here, and you think this wasn't an interesting betting race. We only bet 100% meat here, and the bottom 4 runners in this race, well, the top one, as we know, Tales of Grim, is an import. It had its first start here and won at Rosehill last start. It's having a second start today. Missed a kickly 2 lengths, but had its chance more or less after that. And then we got down to the another import, number 9, Extra Noble, who was wide in the run all the way. And its run, even though running second last, only beaten 4.6 lengths, wasn't as bad as it looked. San Diego, the winner, apparently it has had tendon trouble, this horse. A big raw galloper, as much as $8.50 bet, only started $7, very well backed. Another runner from Melbourne, Cross of Gold, as much as 50 to 1 was bet, only started 31. And Mohican, who ran second in this race after sitting up outside the leader, ridden by Linda Meach. As much as $8.50 was bet about it, and it only started $6.50. There was a little bit of action in the race. As I say, we only gave 100%, and when they hit the line, there was only 0.7 of a length between the first 4 runners, and Woodbine, who was very easy, was only 0.7 of a length between the first 5 runners, as I should say. Woodbine, who sat in the 1-1 position, had every possible chance and was very easy in the betting, easing from $4, 3 to 1. We put it up 3 to 1 favourite and got out to as much as $7 with 3s to 6s. Woodbine had its chance, wasn't beaten too far. The winner sat back in second last position, got a split in between runners turning for home, and finished a little bit too strong to nab the other visitor from Melbourne right on the line. Race 5. Here we only gave the neat 100. This was the Silver Slipper. The Silver Slipper. Look, the winner the winner will most probably firm right up in markets now for the Slipper. But gee whiz, it did get a very easy time up in time in the lead. Where is the Slipper winner? Where is the Slipper winner? It's going to be a very interesting Slipper because, well, number one here, which is not very big, the visitor from Queensland, Mashani Honcho, it made up ground. It ran into third place. It can't win. The Slipper, Paceman, who was trapped wide all the way, Peter Snowden saying that there's a good chance it choked down. It was a bit blue around the tongue after it came back into the enclosure. And as I say, but it did sit wide, but geez, it was beaten 10 lengths. Volaire, number 4, well, it sat in the 1-1 and had every possible chance. The winner found the lead, Headwater, the runner trained by Team Hawks, ridden by Bold Blake Shin, found the lead and got a very easy time in the lead. It won well. Ottoman, very disappointing Ottoman, a little bit wide early, but then eased in behind to get in a 3-wide trail. Gee whiz, it was disappointing. As the betting suggested, we put it up 9-4, got out from, it was 9-4 to 7-2. And the other two roughies, which were backed, we bet $151, both of the other two roughies, and number 7 Alert was 150 to 100, and Stitzel's Goddess was $151 into 81 at one stage. Well, I laid at 81 and started 90 on my board. But as I say, the leader, Headwater, got an easy lead and won well, but gee whiz, that was the Silver Slipper. We're in a bit of froth and bubble, as they say, froth and bubble, to find the Slipper winner this year, aren't we? Some interesting runners might be produced in the next 4 weeks, but they're leaving it a bit late. And Gay's got that Vancouver tucked away. Now race 6, well, they crossed the line, and these 4 runners who have all run against each other in their last preps. I'm talking about Shooting to Win, Hallowed Crown, Swainesi, and also Kermadec, who was possibly the best run, hit the line, and there was only 0.4 of a length between the 4 of them. Horseman Bowman gave Hallowed Crown a beautiful run. It went to the lead in an assault from barrier 2. Bowman followed it on the fence, got a split in between it and Panzer Division, who sat outside the leader just before they turned. When Panzer Division was dropping off, Bowman got around the leader's heels. But even though he did get off their heels and give it a good ride, the others loomed up. It was just behind the pace Shooting to Win. It was just on their backs, Swainesi, and Kermadec was easing off Scissor Kick's heels, who was a little bit disappointing. Scissor Kick, it ran 5th, only beaten 1.7, and as I say, Kermadec ducked in badly at the 50, or not even that, 50 metre mark. Not that it cost well. If it doesn't duck in, it's only beaten 0.4 of a length. You never know. You never know. If you never go, it might have won the race. They hit the line, those 4 together. The winner was given a good ride. To run the race again, you get a few different results. Race 7 came along, and in that race, we only got 102 to pay 102. That's the Toyota Lexus. Race 7. This was won by Greatwood, who was headed by Barbero. The judge he reached for number 2 to put number 2's number in the frame, but the 1900 just found Barbero out, ridden by Horseman Bowman. He saved it up. He nursed it as long as he could, and when he did go, it got the half a length in front. But as I say, Greatwood, who led in this race, came again and beat it by half a length. And after sucking up in 4th position, a diametric, it ran 3rd, only beaten 0.7. They did get away from the others. The others were a bit disappointing. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd made it had a little bit on the others, but the way the race was run also suited them. So, and there'd be a lot of improvement in a lot of the other runners, but the Bureau just failed to run out the 1900. The winner, trained by Gay, I own the lead, led, as I say, but just plugged the Bureau in the last little bit. And in that race, we gave 102%. In the last, it was fat. It was Ballarat in the last 104. Oh my God. Well, look, I said 104, and that's taking Adora Beale at 5-2, but as much as 13-4 was bet in the outside ring. So you got 5% difference there, 5% exactly difference, 23.5 and 28.5, 5% difference, and so take that 5 off. We only gave 99, but I'll call it 5-2, and we gave 104. And the ride in this race was the deciding factor, ridden by James McDonald. Devonshire Duke had barrier 2 in a field of 12, and sucked up in 4th position on the fence, got a split turning for home, easing off the fence and racing in the middle of the track when they got down to the line, and just held on to beat Idance, who was always in front of it and on us out and getting a suck up behind the leaders. Margin was only 0.1 when they hit the line, and running third was, I couldn't understand the price, Zinzanati. Opened up $4, bookies reached for it, got out to $6, plenty of it, came in to start $5.50, hard to get towards the end of betting. Ridden by Bold Blake Shin, he was in between runners coming down the side, slightly held up, losing his momentum halfway up the straight, had to switch back to the inside of the winner, and only failed by 0.3 of a length, 0.1 by 0.3, and running third in the race, running fourth in the race was Define, who settled back in the field and ran right along the fence, which some jockeys, including the pumper Jay Cassidy, who drew barrier 1 on Black Revolver in the last race after missing the kick, was on the fence all the way, and he said that the fence was chopped up a little bit worse than it was out wide, and that was the indication that the riders gave by easing off the fence. When Bold Blake Shin won the Silver Slipper, he did lead on headwater, and was noticeable when he turned for home. He was nowhere near the fence. He was always 4 off and stayed in that position, if not a little bit wider, when they got down to the post. And as I say, getting back to this race, Zinzanati, with a little bit of a little bit more clear running and a little bit of luck in the straight, it most probably would have won. Although Define, who was a $26 chance, it made up plenty of ground to run fourth, and it was on the fence, close to the fence. So its run might have been bad either. Run that race again, and you would get quite a few different results. That was the Mother and the Glory at Rosehill today, at the Hill. So if you were wire netting, I hope you finished on the right side of the ledger. Good evening.